when we talk about the whiners, as I call them sometimes, and the mantles of mental health and the mantles of yoga, we're talking about spiritual bypassers for the mantles of yoga. And those involve individuals who have not brought their inner child up to the forefront. Okay, so I don't like to use words, even though I use words. And when I say that is I don't like to use labels. And so I try to explain this because every one of us speaks a certain way. And I speak with feelings. And I know it sounds silly, but that's the part of what a divine feminine of 5D Mystic Land, Enlightenment Soul Age Group, and just somebody who has not ever disconnected from being able to use my left mode as an inner child. Okay, so I'm lucky because I have secure attachment and I have a mother who raised me to let me be a child as I was a child. And I have a twin. So I was born with spirituality in the womb because spirituality is living a life with meaning beyond the solo self and with connection beyond the solo self. So I automatically was determined, since in the fetus are actual trauma charges. And when you learn about attachment trauma informed, I'm trauma and attachment informed, but I'm the pseudoscience lady because I bring human, spiritual, and spirituality elements together. And these are voices, perspectives, and we support everyone who's becoming a lovely. No, we support all people, but if you're maladaptive child behavior, we're not going to whiners or mantles of mental health say, oh yeah, I need to, walk around eggshells or filter my mouth for you. We're going to know how to be decent human beings and know we are agreeing to disagree. And you don't like me maybe, or, it all depends how it goes. Okay. But long story short, we're not actually going to be insulting anyone or saying you're not my friend or I'm your friend, or, when people cut each other out because of different political, religious, and all that. Yeah, I've seen it happen. It's very fascinating. Those are emotionally immature people. They don't have emotional accountability, self regulation, and the capacity to know what healthy self worth equals, which equals I'm a differentiated self and you are. And I can still link and be a friend when I have different opinions when it comes to politics, religion, and all that, because it's belief systems. No truths anywhere. Like with polyamory, you can't tell me, cannot, that I can only love one person when I consistently love. You can tell me that your opinion is that you love one person. So when you learn how to handle those who don't notice that their tone is telling me that they're a whiner or a mantle of mental health or a mantle of yoga, the spiritual bypassers, well, what I learned, thank you, Stephen Porges, is that they're in a safety behavior because their inner child is not anywhere. There's non-bilateral integration, and there's not an aware person of their emotional stuff. So that means that they're getting in a, charged kind of thing. When people tell me, hey, you're getting all, yes, I am passionate, but you know what? You're right. Let me recalibrate for a minute. Okay, I'm going to calm down now. Oh, no, I want to keep talking. Let's keep talking, shall we? Okay. So I like to pause if I notice somebody getting very, up, and then make sure, are we okay? Can we still keep talking? And I'll notice if that's a yes or a no because they will let me know. Versus the ones who are basically the ego sensitive, Elsa Journey. They're superheroes with a cross to bear, and others are super villains, and they're not healed from their trauma, trust break, any of it. They have the bystanders. The number 4, the recovery of a trauma charge, is when you want other people. This is based on studies. I know it sounds like I make up shit from my ass, but that's because of how I talk about it. Again, I don't do labels or buzzwords or try to organize any content in any. No, I'm food for thought lady on purpose. If I wanted to do a bibliography and be a research paper writer, I would have done that. I asked myself that as I began writing the Inner Growth Mindset book. Are you writing this for the academics, Maria? You know what? I did like the idea of trying to do it for academia, but no, I'm helping people that want to be their self, to know how to use their own mindset with their psyche, their ego, their society, their sociology, and oh look, existentialism, their secondary consciousness, which means, yeah, you don't have meaning when you wake up, but you do have the meaning you give yourself. And then I became also attachment trauma informed. Okay, so whiners to me are the ones who say, I was diagnosed with this, and now that I know exactly what I am, you got a bad therapist. It's not exactly who you are. Did they not explain to you, like Janina Fisher does, that you're not a pathology, that your behavior can be understood? I'm so sorry you have an ignorant person who didn't know about Janina Fisher. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That academic and therapist and whoever she is probably did what I got told to me in my face as I was sharing excitedly about everything I learned from my trauma course with Somatopia. so that we all have child parts, that we all have a window of welcome, or no, some don't have a window of welcome to emotions. I do, but others, they have a window of tolerance, and you get to expand it by choosing to do personal development, not saying I don't want to do it. Okay, so there's your whiners. They do good therapy, MDR, child parts work, somatics, they talk all about good therapy, and then, oh, look, lo and behold, they don't want to do personal development. Why wouldn't you want to feel better inside? It's called restorative embodiment. It's your mammalian heritage. It really feels good to be able to have a conversation and be able to be like, you know, and to be like, wow, you don't like me. Wow, well, thank you for your time. And I'm being very serious, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to talk to me anymore. I've had that happen too. But I don't really notice these things because I don't have insecurity. Even as a teenager, I was like, am I insecure? No, but I am a teenager. So that means my emotions are a little bit more sensitive because I have low self esteem. But do I want those people's approval? Well, let me think. Who am I pretty, even if I were a cockroach too? That's right. My only one big monster. No, it wasn't a monster. So my secure attachment figure, my mother. Then I have a person that I grew up with. So again, I was determined to be able to be a smartass and have fun. And I learned how people get annoyed by that, by the way. And then they think that our smiles are fake and that we're toxic positivity and that we can't vibe in enlightenment because the Zen masters think their emotions are laundry. I'm like, wow, you don't have full bilateral integration yet or something. I don't know what's the deal. You don't know emotions can be fun. I'm not sure how you're a human yet. Oh, wait, you're not. You're a Zen master. I forgot. You don't have a human body, apparently. You don't know that the life within you is your actual 3-year-old that you can bring back to life like mine right here. She never died though. So, okay, let's get to it for a minute. I have a lot of love for all people. When people have thrown shit in my face, I didn't know about attachment trauma, but I did know that I chose, thank you, Jesus, how to do the thing called forgive, not because I owe it. No, nobody needs a star. I'm not wearing anything. No, it's because I chose to match my heart body and value body because I was an adolescent like anybody else, and I did do what I would say were silly things, things that don't match my value body or heart body. And I said, Maria, now that you've learned, and the grown-ups were right about the low self-esteem, low, all that shit with the teenagers, and now that I'm attachment trauma informed, I also know that as an adolescent, we all have a pruning process in our brain. Yep, again, not making up shit from my butt, but I know people say, I find it hard to believe. Neurobiology, neuroscience, but yet you're not a flat earther. Huh, I am the woo-woo lady, though, because I am a mystic. So I totally get it. I have downloads, Akashic record readings. You want one? I can tell you where you come from the mind's eye. It's not, shits and giggles for those of us. But, if you don't believe in it, I'm not going to be offended. Totally, I get it. If you don't experience or perceive any of Mystic Plane, that you're going to look at me and be like, yeah, I think it's like a movie. And it's like, yeah, believe me, when I started to have dreams and downloads and travel, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I don't even need to watch TV. And my movies are way more better than any of those movies that are out there, by the way. So it's really fun to be a 5D mystic because we use our prefrontal cortex because that's integration of the brain. So when I'm looking at people, I know that they are people. And whatever they project, I can catch. So, okay, the whiners are people who they present to lists. I don't have it happen often because I notice by their tone. How dare you let me know how you worked with your panic attacks? It's not possible. I'm possible right here. I'm so... Okay, you are triggered because, of course, I know what it's like when you get panic attacks, but don't you hear your tone getting pissy at me for giving you a way to work with it? Oh, I'm sorry. They do that even to Nutshell Lady, and she's an official therapist who gives you really great advice on how to do things. And when you're telling me I have to put up with it, well, I mean, again, I get it. And then again, I'm thinking those are your two options. Expand your window of tolerance to that, yes, again and again, and you shut the panic story up, the left little mode, breathe. You wait for those 15, 20 minutes. I'm not saying it's fun. Nobody says it's fun, but to hear or see you whining about it, a solution, that's a whiner to me. It's okay. Yes, we all know about how hard it is. And believe me, I don't think I have it hard at all. I love my emotions. So mental health mantles, they don't know that they're mantles because they're yelling. And I'm like, don't you know you're just dysregulated and you're actually scaring those people who are already dysregulated, and you're doing the dance of the low self-esteem, indirect communicators, passive aggressive. The whole cancel culture is immature, emotional, not knowing how to handle yourself. And then what? Boundaries? You don't know boundaries. You're codependent types, martyrs, superiors, blamers. Love dependence, love avoidance. Go clash it out. Whether it's a twin flame, a false twin flame, a divine counterpart, false of anything, it's more like, okay, they're all on Elsa's journey, and they're not using any of the attachment trauma information to become healthy self-worth people. We want healthy self-worth in the picture. So come on over, have fun over here. And when we see a whiner, we'll make sure not to say anything at all. We know what whiners want. Come, let me hug you. It's okay. It'll be okay. And we mean it, but some they won't want to be hugged. So we won't go near them because we won't have anything interesting to say. But there are those who they whine and they come to get hugs because, hug activates your ventral vagal nervous system. So what's fun is when we are with people who take mental health seriously, they know that the ones who also take their mental health seriously don't come to us expecting anything except for to be treated like a human being and actually to understand how they work. And they understand how they work, so now they know, okay, I know how to catch myself and my triggers and this and that, and hey, I would love to be friends and or lovers and or whatever it is that they're deciding and you're deciding with them. And the yoga people, they're not just wearing a mantle, they know about true spirituality, which is why we're not talking about volcanoes bringing demons out of the earth because of volcanoes erupting. We're more like, oh, did you hear about that G5 whatever storm? The sciences people, they're writing papers on how this might affect this lovely I forget what it's called, but there's a whole explanation. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. How many people are going to think I'm ooh lady for letting them know that earthquakes might increase because the sun and space affects us? And I'm thinking in my head, really? Really? And I again, I'm not a mathematician, but I'm going to say we're all a part of the solar system, so it doesn't seem to me that it's odd that what's outside the sun, the moon, has an effect. But you want to tell me that it's demons? Okay, I can work with. No, I'm not going to work with that. I'm going to be like, you don't know about dark matter and dark energy, and that I'm a 5D mystic, not a 4D one. And so sciences and spirituality, they come here, and thank you, Patrick McNamara. He shows there's no demon that possesses a person when they have nightmare after nightmare, and he's still studying it and building his data. So when I know data, I know data. That's what any person who likes to enjoy this. And so again, the whiners, they're not enjoying, they don't embody the education. They don't try to assimilate it and then see it they use words in the ways of labels. So you hear the and that's why I call people whiners, not because they're whiners for real. No, every person has some inner world battle. Difference is if you take that and you become a decent human being. So some of us were lucky. We didn't have to make too much of an effort. Thank you, Jesus. I learned to choose based on Jesus because I got lucky with my mother and my twin. But then everything else, Maria got to choose when she was being thrown shit in the face of teenager land. It's not personal. You know what? Let me think. Is it? Nah, it's not. Yeah, I think that I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I'm going to keep my valley body and my love body, and I'm going to stay on. And then I'm going to say no to you if I don't want to play because you don't know how to play the way that I asked you to. And I'm not going to feel shame or guilt. Nope. And if you point that finger, you can keep pointing it. I know that you're being rude, and I'm not going to point it back because, again, I chose. I have a heart body and a valley body. I'm going to say, nah. Cuscos don't get lectured by pachas. We just stare. Oh, and we learn eventually. I'm pretty sure I should leave now. Yeah? Don't you think? I think we're not on the same page, right? Okay, bye. So as a teenager, I learned how to handle whiners, Cuscos, you name it. And it just got easier because I'm an actual grown-up. And so this is what healthy self-worth looks like. And when you care about people. So if I meet anyone, I'm not going to treat them lesser. That would be where a person doesn't know that they're awesome like anybody else. Healthy self-worth means I look at you straight in your eyes because I have no trauma charges. So I'm present. I'm not assuming anything. I'm curious, open, accepting, and loving. And thank you, Daniel Siegel, for this. So my brain, because I'm in a state of compassion, that's what healthy self-worth means. Okay, so I know how to have fun and be serious. And I know that my gut is always right. You know why? Because my gut isn't telling me this is a good or bad person. I learned how not to cast a stone, thank you to Jesus, and how to be humble, thanks to God. And I like that. It feels right because that's what healthy self-worth feels right here. So I know that I'm going to be a clear conscience to me, not because I can prove it, but I know I'm not going to be a whiner. So if you tell me I don't like you, I learned as a teenager how not everybody likes you. I learned as a 4-year-old how I wouldn't be liked because I was too serious. And I don't take it personally because it's not. It's called compatibility. So when you have secure attachment and somebody says, oh, I don't want you, you don't be like, oh my God, they chipped away at my soul. Well, no, they didn't chip away at anything. I'm right here. Look, I have flesh all over me. Thank God they didn't touch me. Oh, good. Okay, so that's one. The people who are doing their actual work, meaning that they enjoy to get home to this, they like people like me because I treat them like people. They treat me like people. And they don't come and say, "You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't be you because I decided that you have to cater to my needs, my emotional, mental needs." You're catering to your emotional, mental needs as you work with a good therapist who shares with you how to reparent yourself, how to become your adult, how to notice when your triggers are coming up, and then how to talk to people about them and how to have conversations. It's not called justification. It's called, hey, you know what? Sometimes when we have these arguments, I start to think the worst things about myself because I had this thing called inner critic and outer critic. Whether they call it the family from home or their child, depends on what therapist supports them. But they know their core content. They're working to get out of shame and blame and all that safety behavior. They're working with the surface content. This is from Dr. Daniel Fox. He uses core and surface. I like that because that's what people get to work with because they're not going to bring the maladaptive child, the whiner, or the mantles of mental health or the mantles of yoga, the fake, because I'm going to say it's fake because you in your heart aren't open hearted to yourself or others. If you were, then you'd be treating with decency all people without thinking that there's a demon inside a person who doesn't know how to behave. And with knowing that the forensic criminologist Michael Stone, he gives us a scale of evil, they all end up in prison if they can't conduct themselves in society. They can all get a good therapist. We don't need to insult people. See, to me, it's insulting if you call somebody a demon or devil, and it's also fallacy because according to neuroscience and neurobiology and sciences, so again, I'm a flat earther, no, I'm a mystic, so I'm woo. But if you're going to bring me a story from ancient times that I know plenty of, and I told God, I said, I don't know about evil, but I do know about human suffering. And I know what Jesus stands for. So I'm good with my consciousness. And I'm not good with grandiosity. 7 to 14 charming because they're bullshitting all people. And the ones that fall for it are the same people who don't go to good therapy. And they say, here's my list of things. And how dare you put the person that's on the pedestal. Oh, well, you know what? Peter Pan's with the Lost Boys, Lost Girls, and Wendy's. Go have fun, 3D, 4D. We're all good over here. So over here, we take care to support each other to expand consciousness, which means to use this to be whole inner child and not to pretend like somebody is something bad or good. Our lovely academics, they talk all about, should we really be saying that humans are inherently good or evil or bad? Thank you so much. I'm 44. I knew this as a teenager, told it to God as a 20-year-old or 18-year-old, and then I kept moving forward. And I didn't say I'm actually, what is the word? I am betraying anyone. No, I am not betraying anyone because an institution that stands in a certain way that doesn't represent the word that I got taught. Humble. I'm just going to say it. I don't know how humble gets misunderstood. Oh, wait, grandiosity don't know how to admit to themselves what they are unless they go to good therapy. And so, again, grandiosity don't mean anyone who's evil. It's the 7 to 14 charming that pull the wool over the eyes of the same people who will then go and say, how dare you talk about that person in this way? Really, whiner, mental health mantle or yoga mantle? Is that your Zen master over there telling you about all the truths and nothing but the truth? So help you what? Okay, you obviously don't know about neuroscience. I'm sorry, you don't believe in that. Oh, I'm sorry, that technology is taking your divinity or humanity away. Which one is it? So how many stories can people tell as I have humored your lovely my lovely viewers enough. So again, we love to support people, and when we see whiners or the mantles of mental health or the mantles of yoga, we support them too. But we don't put up with the bullshit. But we don't attack anyone either with names and insults and words. We just say, "Wow, very interesting." And you better believe that non-bilaterally integrated. So people who have non-bilateral integration, their right mode, their inner child, let me out, is not coming out to play. So we got a left motor who's organizing and dividing things. And you know what? That's going to be pretty clear because they're going to present to you the self-brided expression of a maladaptive child. It's all about them. You already know that they think they're right. And no, usually they don't come in thinking they're wrong. They come in thinking they're right, and they want to have a debate, which they won't have with the Pacha. Once they've made it all about themselves and they see that you're not taking their side and they see that you're actually like completely like, so I'm trying to work with you. I don't really have much to say here. Okay, so this is the moment of truth where they hopefully just, you know what? We have different opinions. Thank you so much for exchanging this moment with me. If not, the fact that you didn't take their side, how dare you not take my side? And that's when you say, well, it's not about sides. I'm going to agree to disagree. We have different perspectives. Is that okay? Because I'm a subjective human being. I have a name. Or are you expecting me to think and feel life the way you do? Because I really don't feel that that's fair to me. I can understand your point of view. I'm just saying I don't have it. I mean, there's many ways we can work with whiners and the mantles of mental health and the mantles of yoga. They don't like that. So once you do that, there are some who will continue. And again, at a certain point, you're like, I really think we've covered it all. Don't you? Don't you agree? Are you waiting for me to tell you I'm right or that you're right? I was a teenager the last time I ever said, I don't do this shit. I don't know why you're trying to have me have this kind of, I'm not in politics. I'm not standing here argumentating with you at all. This was entertaining for me, like food for thought right now. Okay, so again, please join us if you care about people, because we care about people. And the people who are doing that lovely work, the ones who are emotionally lifting, they can use people that are not judgmental and that don't cast stones and that don't turn around and think any demon or evil or devil or any, you don't dehumanize a person. Okay, so hopefully I'm trying to make it clear. I use words, just not labels and buzzwords, but I'm going to have to use words. And they will be misunderstood by some people, but I know it's not the open-minded 5D person. The open-minded 5D person knows how to hear not only the tone, but also say, you know what, I'm going to ask Maria about that. Hey, can you expand on that or explain it? Because I didn't understand it. You used it differently than the dictionary. And I'll be like, wow, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of words I use differently. So please, my lovely viewers and listeners, remember that, because yes, I do not use words in the same way. Some people say you should change that, and I say I'm a content creator. I don't need to change shit, because grown-ups know how to ask questions, not tell me that I need to do 1, 2, 3. This is my channel where I support people with self-help and personal development to be their self, and I'm being myself. So you see? And that's where informality. Let's have fun and let's welcome the 5D plane, because I mean, it's going to get more and more awesome. Thank you to the attachment and trauma researchers out there and all the sciences and academics people. Of course, thank you, spirituality, Sadhguru, and the true spirituality leaders who know that our life is a meaning and it is a connection beyond the soul self, and that enlightenment is very possible. That nobody has to have laundry in their body, because it's called the expand your window of tolerance. And that's because of emotional awareness, accountability, and self-regulation, and knowing how to use your left and right. You put your left foot in and your right foot in, and you call that integration of the brain. And then your default mode network gets down-regulated like mine. And when I look in your eyes, I'm curious, open, accepting, and loving, because I'm in a physiological state of compassion, which is a securely attached human being restorative embodiment. It isn't a genius's gift. So ask me your questions. And remember that the whiners, they've chosen, they can always come back around. If somebody projects at you something, be the decent, grown human being you can be, and know that, as Stephen Porges presents, biological rudeness is not a conscious choice. It is a person who's already in their safety behavior. So when you meet Cuscos, their low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive-aggressive, and cancel culture, you're not going to get through to the teenager in the room. So it depends. Are you a grown-up who understands what I just spelled out to you? As a 5-year-old, to the best of my ability. They don't know what they're doing. They're non-bilaterally integrated. They don't give a shit. They don't know. They're not evil. They're ignoring their mood, and they're ignorant of the fact that there's a 0-1-year-old with a 3-year-old shame cycle, heartbroken, who's let me out, who's been triggered in one way, shape, or form. Cognitive dissonance, again, maladaptive child behavior. It can be a trust break, all of these things. So there's reasons for it. And if you need anything important, you call the numbers so that you can physically stay safe. But other than that, an exchange is called, I'm going to disengage from somebody who is being consistently in my space. Healthy boundaries are about saying, you know what, no thank you. Thank you so much. And however many times you have to repeat it, because that's how it works. Children, once you repeat it enough times with a ventral vagal node, they will understand. I have proof of it. As a 16-year-old and then growing up, I got better and better, and now I'm hopefully, thank you attachment trauma researchers, again, the best at doing it, because I care to be a somatic empath, so that people can know I care, that you're a person and I'm a person. I unconditionally love you. Okay, if you're going to get pissy, I'm going to move away. Thank you so much, though, for your time, because 24 hours is how much time we have. So let's spend it supporting each other. We'll be back with more. Have a great day.